It wasn't until we started having kids that all of a sudden, it's like this started festering again in my life. And the longer we went, it's like the worse and worse it got. I started realizing that a lot of what I was dealing with was I was terrified that I didn't want to be a dad. I didn't know how to be a husband. Just because I never had that example. And I just remember, it was every day. I just felt like they'd be so much better off if I wasn't here. So my real dad left my mom whenever I might have been 6-8 months, something like that. She ended up meeting some guy in church that we were going to at the time. She thought it was gonna be wonderful, obviously. She married him real quick. Turned out he was an extremely abusive person. Would beat my mom almost daily. We had one of those U-shaped couches in the corner, and we used to hide back behind the couch while it was happening. She'd put blankets over our heads, and we'd sit there and just hide until you heard the screaming and the ruckus stop. He assaulted me as well, in more ways than one. But witnessing all that and going through all that, we were also the family that my mom led worship at church. She was on stage. We had to sit on the front row. My stepdad was always the one with his hands in there. Everyone loved him at church. So my mom, for 13 years, stayed with him, and we just kind of dealt with this. To eventually one day, he just woke up, told my mom, "I don't love you, never loved you," and ran off with another woman. My mom started working, waiting tables, doing whatever she could to try to make ends meet, living off of tips and things like that. We had moved in with my grandparents. One morning I get up to go to school, find out that my mom's not there to take us to school. She was working that night. So I go knock on my grandparents' door, tell them, "Hey, Mom's not here, can y'all take us to school?" They're fine. So they take us to school, and I remember that whole day just like a gut feeling like something's not right. That's weird. Mom, she's always there to take us to school. It's just a weird thing. My uncle ends up checking us out of school midday that day, and when he came, I just knew, like, okay, thumbs up. Pull up at my grandparents' house, and I remember opening the door, and everybody's crying in the living room and all that, and my grandma walking up to us, telling me, "Hey, your mom got in an accident, and it's not good." So, and I immediately knew, she didn't even have to say it, like I knew she was gone. And I think that's kind of where my issue with depression and anxiety really started festering.
When I met Nick, I was a smoothie girl, and Nick was the front desk guy, and he won me over very quickly. So we started dating, and we got married a couple years later and started having a family pretty quick. We had 4 boys within 4 years. It was challenging, to say the least.
I had been talking with a friend in church, trying to tell him what was going on. She knew some of it. I wasn't telling her everything just because, I'm supposed to be taking care of the family. I don't want to lay this pressure on her that, hey, I don't feel like I can do this type thing. But early last year, I decided, for whatever reason, that it'd be better off if I wasn't around. I don't even know what I was thinking, to be honest with you. I had 4 kids sleeping. It was late at night. I grabbed a shotgun. I remember, trying to load it, realizing there's not a shell in it. I remember going to the closet, and by this point, she's realizing what's going on. She's freaking out.
And he was looking for the shells. He had put the gun down on the bed, and I grabbed it, and I ran outside with my phone as fast as I could. And I called the police, and within 2 minutes, they were at our house. And that was another God thing. They said that they were right there. Usually they're way far away where we were living, and it would have taken a long time, but they got there in 2 minutes. And that was really, really hard to stand on the front porch and to watch them take Nick and know that, I couldn't be there.
The biggest thing, I've gotten through all this and been able to move on from it, honestly, is our connection in Green Acres and the fact that we were plugged in. Michael Gossett was on my couch the next morning after church because we didn't go to church that Sunday, and Hannah reached out. They held me overnight at the hospital. I'd just gotten back, and when I got back, he was at my house like within 5 minutes. Him and Chance were both sat on our couch, and it was honestly amazing. I remember telling him that over and over and over. I was just ashamed, embarrassed. Couldn't believe that I tried to go through what I was trying to go through. Felt very loved and just accepted. I mean, we spent probably a week, 2 weeks with some people from church that we were connected with, taking turns sleeping on my living room floor on a blow-up mattress just to make sure I was okay.
I didn't go to the grocery store, I'd say, for like 3 weeks. Like, literally everything was taken care of. They didn't want us to have to worry about anything. People paid our rent. People, I remember them telling us over and over again, we don't want you to have to worry. We just want you to just rest and to be okay. And just to feel like people go out of their way so much because they love the Lord and because they loved us. We saw God's character through their hands and their feet.
It was the first night that we didn't have people sleeping on my floor. And then all of a sudden we hear just like this loud scream coming from the bathroom. So we get up, go to the bathroom, and Hannah's trying to console Elijah, and he's looking up at the mirror, the lights in the bathroom, and just screaming. And every time she tries to grab him, touch him, I mean, he's fighting her more and more and more, just screaming like, don't touch me. And she looks at me, she's like, Nick, I don't know what to do. I can't stop him. So I go and I picked her up, and the second I picked him up, I remember telling him, Daddy's got you. And I mean, his whole body that just went limp while I'm holding him, and it was another moment that just broke me. It's just been funny how much God has used so many little things to just remind me. I'm like, no, you're needed here. And you got 4 boys that count on you and love you. A beautiful wife that counts on me and loves me. Started going to Grace Works, which that was probably, I would say, the single thing that really, really changed my life, to be honest with you. Realizing I don't have to live with depression and I don't have to live with anxiety. And also highlighting how important church family and community and being connected, not just showing up on Sunday and, hey, I'm here this Sunday and I'm leaving, but how important it was that at that point in time in our lives, we were actually plugged in and connected at church, and we had people around us who loved us and no matter what accepted us for who we are.
God has been there, and our friends have been there, and our church has been there for us, and we couldn't have done it without Green Acres and without the body of Christ working together and loving on each other and just really being the hands and feet of Jesus.
I mean, anyone that's battling depression or anxiety, that doesn't have to be your life. It becomes such second nature that I thought this is just a part of my life. This is who I am. And it's absolutely not who I am, and it's not who anyone has to be. Seek help, get counseling, reach out, plug in to a church.